Hello, beautiful people. Happy Monday and welcome to your astrological forecast for this week. I'm recording today because I'm going to be including the new moon in Virgo, which is taking place for a lot of you on Monday the 2nd, for some of us on Tuesday the 3rd. For me here in the UK, it will be actually happening on Tuesday the 3rd. However, I would like to include it into this video because there is not all that much craziness happening this week, and it's all now building up towards this new moon in Virgo. And then after that, we're going to have the after effects, which I'm going to cover in my video next weekend. However, after that, I'm not going to be recording a video the weekend after until I get to US, because I'll be traveling on Sunday the 8th. So anyway, so there is a reason why I'm doing this a little bit off the beat, a little bit in a different time, but just bear with me. It is still Mercury retrograde when I'm recording this, so I do apologize for any kind of glitches or my tongue slipping or anything like that. Before I get into the astrology, let me just mention that this is the last week of my seasonal sale, 25% off all my services. So if you would like to book a reading with me, you still can for this reduced price until Saturday the 31st of August, midnight PST. This is when the sale will end. And yeah, and I do have to mention that I am fully booked for the remainder of my time here in Europe. So I will only be able to offer booking from September the 10th when I'm already in the US. So that's it for the advertisement. And also, if you do enjoy my content, please do like and subscribe to support my channel. And now let's dive into the astrology. So I would like to open this space and call in on my higher self, my spirit guides, my angelic team, my ascended masters or other ascended masters, and Astasit family, and all the beings of light that would like to be present for this recording. Thank you for being here, and thank you everyone for being here to watch my video. I really appreciate your time, and let's just dive in. So today, Monday the 26th, is technically 888 portal because 2 and 6 adds up to number 8. So August 26th, 2024, which is all together 888, right? Which adds up to number 6, which is all about balance. So let's see how it goes. So we entered the week with Moon still in the sign of Taurus. However, by this point, Moon is in the sign of Gemini, which is all about the choice. So we'll see what kind of choices we'll be making under influence of this energy. And then there is nothing else going on with the planets. We have Sirius station in direct, and Venus is making a sextile to Pallas. However, tomorrow, Tuesday the 27th, we're going to be experiencing Venus as the ruler of the South Node, making a trine to Uranus, current ruler of Pluto and upcoming ruler of Pluto for 20 years, and also being ruled by Venus because Uranus is in the sign of Taurus. So this is the first trine since their conjunction, which took place on May 18th, 2024, which was right before the full moon in Sagittarius and before Jupiter moved into the sign of Gemini. And this current trine, is happening on 27 degrees and 15 minutes, which is 9, 6, 15, number 6. So yeah, of course, because this is all still under the influence of Moon in the sign of Gemini, which is all about the choice, right? And of course, both Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury, and currently, even tomorrow, Mercury still is retrograde in the sign of Leo, which is all about choosing this heart-centered consciousness to make choices from a different place, not from the place of the ego mind, but from a different place. So we can make different choices and then experience reality in a different way. So even though this is a trine where most people just expect things to be easy peasy, and they could be, absolutely, but also from the evolutionary perspective, it just means that the soul is ready for it. The soul is ready for evolution. But now, being in Virgo season, we know that it's all about practical application of that which we learned, and Venus being in a sign of Virgo and being the ruler of the South Node in Libra, which is all about balancing of the past dynamics that no longer work for us, and Uranus being in a sign of Taurus ruled by Venus, which is all about, in a sense, fracturing our current foundation because it's built on an unstable ground and creating a stronger one. And that's what Virgo is about: practicality and applying the tools that we learned into practical application. So anyway, so all that said, Venus is making a trine to Uranus tomorrow. And this is under influence of Moon being a sign of Gemini. So the choice is up to you. And then on Wednesday the 28th, Moon will move into sign of Cancer, which is the sign of Moon's rulership. So this is where she is the stronger and strongest, and this is where our intuition is really spiked up. And under the influence of this energy, Venus will be making an opposition to Neptune retrograde in Pisces, and this is Venus's final aspect prior to her moving into sign of Libra the following day. And just to again mention, the conjunction between Venus and Neptune, which started this cycle that now it's halfway through, the conjunction took place on April the 3rd, and this was only a day before Sun made a conjunction to North Node, which is the dynamic that changed everything. The energy we are experiencing at the moment is the result of the dynamic, and that was, of course, right before the solar eclipse in Aries, which happened in a conjunction, new phase conjunction with the North Node. And this is the conjunction also happened after the full moon lunar eclipse in Libra. So this is a midpoint. Always opposition is about balancing something that is no longer in balance, because Neptune being a sign of Pisces retrograde is making us very aware of what lost meaning and it's no longer working. And Venus being a sign of Virgo, of course, it's saying like, okay, practical application, what we're going to do about it. And of course, 29 degrees of Virgo for Venus is actually a Taurus decan, which is again about creating this new foundation. And it's interesting that only a day before, Venus is making a trine to Uranus, and that was 27 degrees of Virgo, which is also a Taurus decan. So we are creating a new foundation, and we know that because even last week I was mentioning that the sextiles we were experiencing, they were all Taurus flavors. So this is literally what's going on for us. We are creating a brand new foundation from which we can create a different experience for ourselves. Okay, on the same night or on Thursday morning, depending where you are in the world, for me here in the UK, it is still Wednesday night, and I know for everyone in the US also, Mercury will station direct in the sign of Leo, 21 degrees, 25 minutes. And as we might remember, Mercury stationed retrograde on August 5th, which was right after the new moon in Leo, and it was still in the sign of Virgo, 4 degrees, 6 minutes. That's when Mercury stationed retrograde. Mercury did enter the sign of Virgo on 25th of July, which was right after the full moon in Capricorn. And actually, just a side note, this opposition between Venus and Neptune is happening on the same degree as we had the full moon in Capricorn number 2, 29 degrees, 8 minutes. It was exactly the same degree. So that's very interesting as well, right? So, okay, going back to Mercury. Mercury station retrograde on August 5th, re-entered Leo on August 14th. Now Mercury is stationing direct on August 28th or 29th, depending where you are in the world. And Mercury will re-enter the sign of Virgo on 9/9 portal and leave the sign of Virgo on September 26th. So this is when Mercury will move into a sign of Libra. Okay, so this is taking us into Thursday the 29th, and on Thursday the 29th, Venus is going to move into sign of Libra, which is the second sign of her rulership. This is where Venus is very strong, and Venus is preparing for her conjunction with the South Node again. And as soon as Venus moves into a sign of Libra, which, by the way, she will remain until September 23rd. So Venus will move into a sign of Scorpio on September 23rd, which is right after Sun moves into the sign of Libra the day before. So Venus will be on 29 degrees of Libra when Sun will move into the sign of Libra. And this, of course, will be the equinox, which will take place after the first eclipse. That will be the one in Pisces, lunar eclipse in Pisces. So anyway, going back to this Venus in Libra, Venus is making a trine to Pluto right after moving into the sign of Libra. Literally 1 hour and 10 minutes later, and Pluto is still retrograde in the sign of Aquarius at this stage. I believe this is last aspect Pluto will receive before moving into the sign of Capricorn. So this is happening on 0 degrees and 4 minutes. 4, of course, is the number associated with Saturn. It's all about stability and structure. And the conjunction between Venus and Pluto took place on February 17th, which was right after the first conjunction between Mars and Pluto in the sign of Aquarius as well. So this is a first trine, which is all about Leo. So it's all about creativity, authenticity, and authentic expression. So we are again balancing something that is becoming fragmented. So it literally, the vision I can see is like, you know, with this Uranus and this activation that is happening tomorrow, Venus trying to Uranus, you know, at the time of me recording this, Uranus is fracturing this illusion, is this illusion of this current reality we are experiencing, and this trine between Venus and Pluto. As soon as Venus moves into a sign of Libra, it's saying like, well, we have the opportunity to balance it, because we no longer have to look up to someone else, but we are individuating through healing our wounding. We are becoming more connected to our soul and more allowing ourselves to be authentic. And this is what's balancing the scales. It's bringing us closer to the point of neutrality that I covered in depth and detail in my practical application of astrology. So if you would like to hear more about that, you can check it out. It's already on my YouTube channel. Okay, so then Friday the 30th, Juno is opposing North Node, Sun is making a trine to Ceres, and Moon will move into the sign of Leo, and this is where Moon will be for the entire weekend, sign of Leo. So again, we're going back to our innocence, back to our inner child, back to our authenticity and recognition of what that is for us. And this is like digesting these after effects of Venus making a trine to Pluto retrograde. And then there is nothing much happening on Saturday apart from Moon making a trine to North Node. And then on Sunday, September the 1st, Uranus will station retrograde in the sign of Taurus on 27 degrees and 15 minutes. And Uranus will remain retrograde until January 30th, 2025. And that will be a day after new moon in Aquarius, ruled by Uranus. So Uranus will be still retrograde for the new moon in Aquarius 2025, which will be taking place on January 29th. And then subsequently, the day later, Uranus will station direct. Okay, and then depending where you are in the world, again, for you guys across the Atlantic, it will be still on Sunday the 1st. However, for me here in the UK and everybody further away, it will be already Monday the 2nd, September 2nd. Pluto will re-enter Capricorn for the final time in our lifetime. So Pluto will remain in the sign of Capricorn until November 19th. Pluto will move into the sign of Aquarius after the full moon in Taurus, which will be taking place on November 15th. However, Pluto will remain retrograde, because it's still retrograde, until October 11th. So Pluto will be retrograde for the entire eclipse season and will station direct on October 11th or 12th, depending where you are in the world, and then start its forward motion back towards Aquarius, which Pluto will re-enter on November 19th. And that will be the final re-entering Aquarius again in our lifetime, because that's where Pluto will remain until 2043, and then move into Pisces, and then back into Aquarius, and then leaves Aquarius in 2044. So yeah, let's see what this last retrograde through Capricorn has in store for us. And this is culminating the cycle that began in 2008 when Pluto entered Capricorn for the first time. So right after Pluto moves into the sign of Capricorn, Moon will move into the sign of Virgo, which is again all about balancing, right? It's all about not necessarily even balancing, but it is about adjusting the pattern, right? Because Virgo is the archetype of the hero's journey. It is about human's journey, what the spirit gave me last time in the last video. It is about our human experience. So this Pluto going back into the sign of Capricorn, it's helping us to make some adjustments with regards to where we are going as a humanity. And then right after Moon moves into the sign of Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury, Mercury will make his third and final trine to Chiron, retrograde in Aries. So we know that they already had two trines, and the first one took place, let me just quickly check my notes, on July 18th, which was right before the full moon in Capricorn, the one that happened on 29 degrees and 8 minutes, just like the opposition between Venus and Neptune is happening early on in this, well, early on in this week. I mean, by the time it happens, you don't know, because I'm recording this on Monday, it's actually happened later on this week, but because I'm already going into the end of the week anyway, you know. So the opposition between Venus and Neptune is happening on the same degree as we had the full moon in Capricorn number 2, and the first trine between Mercury and Chiron happened on July 18th, which was right before that full moon. The second trine happened only last week on the 23rd of August, whilst Mercury was retrograde, and this is the final trine where Mercury is direct, so it's helping us to apply into practice what we learned about this retrograde in Leo, which started in Virgo, again about adjustments. So what adjustments are we making? It's this heart-centered consciousness to perceive reality and make choices based on our heart, and this trying to create more of a balance in our life rather than just to react in the same way to the same stimuli in a sense, and recreate the same pattern and then experience the same reality. So this is the final trine, as I mentioned, and then after that we will be experiencing the new moon in Virgo, which I'll be covering. And after the new moon in Virgo, Mars will make an exact square to Neptune, and this is of course fully active for this new moon in Virgo. And yeah, Neptune being the ruler of actually Neptune is not the ruler because it's the new moon in Virgo. Neptune's gonna be the ruler of the upcoming full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, but Mars is the ruler of the North Node. So anyway, so this is it. Then whatever is going to be also still active during the new moon in Virgo, a lot of it will become exact after the new moon in Virgo. However, we will be talking about it next week. So let me just share the charts so you can see what I'm talking about. And I do have quite a few charts ready, and there is a reason for that. Okay, let's see. Okay, I hope that everybody can see the chart. So this is, okay, so we go, where are we? This one. This one is the present one, yeah, September 3rd, 2024, here in the UK, 2:56. I know some places say 2:55. However, this is the time when I got the exact conjunction. So as we are aware, every new moon starts a new cycle and ends the cycle that happened prior, which is why I always mention or try to mention when was the last conjunction between the two objects in the sky, two planets or whatever, that we are experiencing, like a sextile or opposition or trine or square or, you know, any aspect of, because during the time of conjunction, the energy was seeded. And of course, everything is a cycle within cycle within cycle within cycle. Nothing is happening in separation. But with regards to this new moon in Virgo, which you'll be experiencing next week, this is a cycle that it's resetting the cycle that started last year in September, and this is a cycle that is beginning that will be taking place over the next 12 months, and it will end next year. But actually there is a caveat, there is actually a trick because we have two new moons in Virgo next year. So anyway, so as I mentioned, this cycle that is now resetting, it began last year on September 15th, 2023, which was the new moon in Virgo back then. And of course, at the time, everything was very different. As we know, we were still preparing for the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, Chiron North Node conjunction. Neptune and Saturn were miles away from each other. Pluto was back in Capricorn after his first journey through the first degree of Aquarius. And yeah, also Mars was preparing for conjunction with South Node. So we had all this stuff. Venus was in Leo. This was post her retrograde in Leo, which took place last summer. So very, very different dynamic. Very different dynamic last year when this cycle got seeded. We can see we had the kite formed in the sky. The moon and Neptune were in exact opposition. And this is, again, what are we balancing? We're balancing that which no longer holds a meaning because we are moving on with the evolution, right? Saturn, as the structure of the reality, is already in Pisces. It's saying, that's it, we're culminating. It's the way, is the nature of thing, right? And we were invited to learn about who we are, right? What is our purpose? What is our authentic expression? Then we had the full moon, which took place on February 24th, 24/2/2024. That was the funny date, right? And this was, again, very different energy. So by this point, we have the Chiron North Node conjunction. They already conjuncted a few days before. We can see this is a new phase already. So already something took place over here that wasn't present, during the new moon. Then everything was in Aquarius. We can see this is right post the you know, first Mars Pluto conjunction in a sign of Aquarius, plus first Venus conjunction with Pluto in a sign of Aquarius. However, Mars and Venus already conjuncted in a sign of Aquarius in 2022. This was their second time, but the first time since they had both conjuncted Pluto in Aquarius. Yeah, so there is different dynamics going on over here, and this is still preparation for this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, which took place in April. And everybody was, I believe, direct here, right? This was the very rare season where everything was going direct. So this was the opposition. We can see a lot of planets in Aquarius, a lot of planets, of course, in Pisces. Mercury was also culminated to Sun. They again will be preparing for another conjunction next month. So anyway, guys, you can see that there was a very different energy present in the skies. Also, we can see that all these guys, you know, the ruler of the North Node and the ruler of the South Node were trying the South Node. Pluto was still a little bit too far because Pluto is going to make an exact trine to South Node at the end of this year. But yeah, you know, there was an illumination of something that got seeded last year in September, which said, okay, well, you know, there are other things that need to take place between September 2023 and September 2024, which is going to show us a lot of things, and it's going to show us what lost meaning, and it's going to show us what needs to change. And a lot of that is to do with the heart-centered consciousness, because Venus, as the ruler of the South Node, was in Leo at the time of the new moon in Virgo 2023. So anyway, so this was the culmination. Now, this is the one that we're going to dive into, but let me just show you something very interesting. So, of course, the opposition to this, the full moon, will be the eclipse. So the 14th of March 2025 will be the first eclipse we'll be experiencing in the sign of Virgo, because there will not be a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Libra. The one that we'll be experiencing now on October 2nd will be the final eclipse in Libra. There will be no more for next 9 years, right? So actually the lunar eclipse in the springtime will be the Virgo one. So this new moon in Virgo is seeding an energy that is going to be illuminated by the eclipse, because the full moon is the illumination of that which got concepted, when we get a little bit more idea about what is going on here. So this is very interesting, because of course eclipses are what we say, like, oh, they're karmic, right? Like things are out of our control, which is truth and not truth, because, you know, depend which way you look at it. It just says your higher self is in charge. Our higher self, the contracts we all signed before we came to this you know, physical incarnation, we all came here for a reason. You know, we all came here with a purpose. So when there are eclipses, you're just saying, okay, yeah, you know, things are happening, and things are happening for a reason, and you all agreed to that prior to coming here. So free will and not so free will. So we might say, well, destiny is in charge, but actually it's our higher self which is in charge, which is you, right? So I just wanted to say that the full moon to this new moon will be an eclipse, and we can see everything is in Pisces and Aries. Literally, look, everything is in Pisces and Aries, you know, which is combinations and these new beginnings, right? And Mercury, we can see Mercury and Venus are just about to have a conjunction with Chiron by that point. So we can see here, you know, it's happening in conjunction with the nodes, and this is a closing phase, yeah? So culmination, because everything is in the sign of Pisces. Okay, and then this is the interesting thing. So this cycle, which we see in on now, is going to end in 2025. However, we'll have 2 new moons in Virgo. So this will be the first one, which is not the eclipse. So this is the interesting thing which we experienced this year with Capricorn. We had the first full moon in Capricorn, which was in June 21st, on 1 degree of Capricorn. And then we had the second, and actually that the same phenomenon happened in 2023. We had two new moons in Aries. One was on 0 degrees of Aries, which was not an eclipse, and the second one was on 29 degrees of Aries, April 2023, which was the eclipse, the first eclipse in Aries. This year we had 2 Capricorn full moons, 1 degree, 29 degrees. So 2025, we're going to have two new moons in Virgo. 2 new moons in Virgo. One is not an eclipse, and the second one is. So this one is the one that is not an eclipse. So technically, you can say the cycle is going to end here, but not really, because there will be another one. So this is kind of like probably between the new moon number 1 and new moon number 2 in Virgo 2025, there will be some kind of something going on, some reset kind of thing. So we can see by this point, August 2025, the world will be a little bit different place, because Uranus will already be in a sign of Gemini, Saturn and Neptune will be in Aries, by this stage both retrograde, and Pluto by this stage is retrograde in Aquarius, again back in Aquarius, no longer going back to Capricorn, and Mars as the current ruler of the South Node being Libra, and Venus as the current ruler of North Node, not at the time, because by this point, of course, we'll have different rulers because the nodes will be in different place. Venus will be in the sign of Cancer, which is all about our identity. Okay, so I'm not going to dive into this astrology. I just wanted to show this, and also we can see the interesting numbers. 0, which is the unlimited potential, 22, master number frequency. This is Archangel Sandalphon. Metaphron and Sandalphon, they go together. So Sandalphon is the earth chakra, which is like, again, foundation. We're creating a new foundation. We're creating a new identity. And then, we have the second new moon, new moon in Virgo, which is on 29 degrees. 29 degrees at 5 minutes. And here we have the 11. Metatron Sandalphon 022, and here we have 29.5. 29 number 11, and 5 is the change, right? So like, who knows what's going to be happening 1 year from now? I just wanted to bring this to everybody's attention, that we are seeing a cycle that is going to be illuminated by the eclipse. And it's not going to fully end with the first new moon in Virgo 2025, but it's going to fully end with the second full new moon in Virgo, I guess, or potentially that's when the next one starts. I don't know. And that's going to be on 29 degrees, and it's going to be an eclipse, right? So, okay, so this is just for the curiosity's sake, because, you know, there is a lot that we could be talking about in this one. You know, we can see this is already a new phase conjunction. New phase conjunction, which this one is still a closing phase conjunction. You can see they didn't conjunct the South Node yet. And you know, so anyway, before losing people completely and getting everybody lost, very interesting. That's all I'm saying. Very interesting. So let's go back to present moment, because the future is unknown. And even this is 1 week from now, so who knows what's going to happen between now and next week. So we can see this is the setup we have going on here. This is, again, 11 degrees. I mean, come on, 11 degrees, which is angelic frequency, Archangel Metatron. And here we have 4 minutes. Next year, 29 degrees, 11, 5 minutes, change. This is the structure, stability, 4 minutes. Right, so we can see that this new moon is actually happening in opposition with Saturn, not in opposition with Neptune, like the last one was. This one is in opposition with Saturn, which is again the structure, the number 4, the structure of reality, and the exact opposition between Sun and Saturn is actually taking place on September 8th. So it will be just under a week after that. We'll be ending the week with that, September 8th. So this is again about balancing. What is out of balance? We see it in something that is going to be illuminated by the eclipse in March, and it's going to culminate next year. And we are trying to establish some kind of balance with regards to the totality of manifestation of everything that came before, which is not really balanced. It is not really harmonious, as we know. But we can see Pluto and Neptune still happy to have their sextile, which is supporting us. This is exactly what is divinely orchestrated, because this is again Taurus sextile, which is creating a new foundation. Neptune by this stage is getting closer and closer to the North Node. The conjunction is happening in February next year. So this is, and it's happening in Pisces. So that's going to reset the cycle between Neptune and the North Node. And also, there are a lot of other things happening. Let me just get to my notes. So this Virgo New Moon is actually being squared. It's being squared by Jupiter. You can see it's been technically, actually, I don't know why is it not showing, because it's only 8 degrees. It's only 8 degrees. What you call it, orb. 8 degrees orb, but it is squared by Jupiter. So Jupiter is squaring this new moon in Virgo, and Jupiter is not the ruler. Jupiter is going to be ruler of the eclipse, because Jupiter is traditional ruler of Pisces. However, Jupiter is ruled by the ruler of the new moon, which is Mercury. And Mercury at this stage is still in the sign of Leo, because as I mentioned at the beginning, Mercury is not going to move back into the sign of Virgo until 9/9, which is the day after we have the exact opposition between Sun and Saturn. So Jupiter is the storyteller. We know that Jupiter is helping us to expand our consciousness. We can see the conjunction between Jupiter and Mars as the ruler of the North Node. Mars as the ruler of the North Node is still active because they are not even 10 degrees apart yet. And Mars is obviously going to be moving into the sign of Cancer, a few days after. But Mars here is already making a square to Neptune. And this is the first quarter square, which is the crisis in action. So it's saying something has to change. Again, something has to change. We need to make a different choice. What choice are we making? Well, Mercury is in Leo. Post his retrograde, it's saying, what have we learned? What have we learned throughout this retrograde in August, especially with the full moon in Aquarius that illuminated a lot of things to us, that made us very aware where do we not feel free and where do we not feel sovereign or liberated to be and have and live the life the way we want. And this is all under influence of Mercury retrograde, which is saying connect with your heart, go back to the origin, what happened in your childhood, what you were being told as a program, as a story that created these belief systems, this subconscious operating system that is sabotaging the reality because it wants to be healed, because we want to keep re-experiencing the patterns that are dysfunctional so we can change them, so we can correct them, right? And Virgo, it's all about correction. It's all about learning and adjusting and putting that which we learn into practice, and is in opposition with Saturn. Something needs to be balanced. What needs to be balanced? The reality that we see the totality of in manifestation that now lost meaning because Neptune is still on 29 degrees, just about 29 degrees and 0 minutes. Again, the number 11. 11, 4, structure of reality, 0, 0. 0 is the 0 point. I mean, you can't even make this up. And also Pluto, 29 degrees. And this is 5 and 8. 5 and 8 is number 13, which is what? 4. 11, 4. 11, 4. I mean, you can't make this up. And 11 and 4 is 15, which is number 6. 15 is the devil card. 6 is the lover's card, right? Lover's card is Gemini, is the choice. 15 is the devil card, which represents the Capricorn. The reality we see manifested is the result of the choices we had made in past, whether in this lifetime, previous lifetime, doesn't matter, us as a human collective consciousness, because we're playing with these evolutionary energies over here. However, we can always make a new choice. We can always make a new choice. We are not stuck unless we choose to be. We are not stuck to have to make the same choice. Nobody's saying we have to do that. We consciously need to decide that I'm done with this. I want to make a different choice. And this is where this Chiron come into play. This Chiron trine to Mercury, which is taking place few hours prior. You can see Mercury only on 23 degrees. Few hours prior, this is the final third trine between Mercury and Chiron. And they had free conjunction in an Aries season when Mercury was in Aries and then retrograde and then forward, right? So this is very important because, again, what is Chiron? Chiron is the key. I already mentioned this in the last video. Chiron is the key between Saturn and Uranus because as an asteroid, it orbits between Saturn and Uranus. It's got very irregular orbit. And Chiron is the key, the old-fashioned key that unlocks your evolutionary potential, Uranus. Saturn is the physical manifestation, but you're not limited to the material world because the material world is only a very small percentage of all there is. It's like 5% or maybe even less, 2%. And Uranus is going beyond everything you've been before. And where is Uranus? Uranus over here. You can see Uranus is trining Pluto. Okay, it's not an exact trine, but they're only 2 minutes, 2 degrees apart. They trine in one another. And this is the Leo trine, this creation. Uranus is fracturing and distorting our reality to show us that this is no longer in alignment because it was built by our belief in the external world is the one that created our reality, whereas it's just a mirror, right? So it's like our reality at the moment is on a shaky ground because it's the result of the manifestation of the past conditioning and program, right? So this Uranus and making trine to Pluto, which is an ongoing aspect because, you know, these planets move so slowly and we can see they both retrograde still. Well, Uranus just stationed retrograde before this moon, you know, it's stations retrograde on the first. Pluto just moved into the sign of Capricorn before this moon, you know, and this is a trine that is now in earth signs, which is again about the foundation. Capricorn is the mastery, self-mastery. So at this stage, this is the first lunation when Saturn is the ruler of Pluto again. And almost for the entire time of Pluto being in a sign of Capricorn, Saturn will be retrograde. Saturn will not station direct until, I believe, November 15th. It will be literally right before Pluto goes back into a sign of Aquarius. So this Saturn that is in opposition with this moon, you know, which is saying about balancing, you know, this is not yet exact opposition. So it's a Virgo side, you know, like you have the opposition. Imagine Aries in opposition is Libra. Actually, I can show you here. Look, Aries in opposition is Libra. So before we get to the exact opposition is the Virgo. So this is where the Saturn is yet. You can see Saturn is 16 degrees. So this is the moon. So technically, no, actually, when we take it with regards to Sun, you see, this is where it gets confusing because when it comes to moon, as the moon, new moon, you know, so when we look at the moon, for the moon and Saturn, yeah, this is the opposition that not yet happened. Obviously, moon is going to oppose Saturn exact, you know, like shortly after. So this is the Virgo side, but because Sun is the center stage with regards to Sun and Saturn, we would think like Saturn is coming towards the Sun, so this would be the Scorpio side. So, you know, these are like the sides of the in conjunction, which is kind of the blind spot. So it's saying to us, okay, well, there is something that we need to adjust, you know, with regards to the moon. So it's our inner world. What we need to adjust is our inner world, who we think we are, because the reality is created from inside out. But what we will see manifested on the outside, you know, the Scorpio is just an expression of that. It's the result of that. So yeah, so anyway, without getting myself lost into, you know, into these logistics, but either way, it's an opposition that not yet taken place exact, but Saturn is the ruler of Pluto, and Pluto is trining Uranus that just ceased to be the ruler of Pluto, and Uranus just stationed retrograde literally a few hours before Pluto moved back into the sign of Capricorn. And Uranus will be retrograde until end of January, so Uranus will be retrograde the entire time Pluto is in the sign of Capricorn. And Uranus is that going beyond, you know, just like this Jupiter is preparing the ground for this Uranus, because Uranus is going to move into the sign of Gemini next year. We already saw that for the new moon in Virgo next year. Uranus already is in the sign of Gemini. Look at that 22 degrees again. And then also at this stage, but here is already retrograde, you know, when it's the second new moon in Virgo, which is the eclipse. So going back to the present moment, here we are. So, okay, so where did we get lost to? Venus. Oh yeah, let's talk about Venus. Well, Mercury, of course, as the ruler of this new moon, you know, Mercury over here, as I already mentioned, is making a trine to Chiron. Chiron is ruled by Mars. Mars is ruled by Mercury. And Mercury is ruled by Sun. So yeah, this is a mutual reception. Mercury is ruled by the Sun because Mercury is in Leo, and Mercury is the ruler of the Sun and of this moon because it's in Virgo. So this is a mutual reception. Mercury also is the ruler of Mars and Jupiter. Now, if you go to Venus, because Venus is the ruler of Uranus, and Uranus plays an important role because it's our, you know, evolution. It's going beyond, you know. So this Venus is just about to have a conjunction with South Node. This is happening 2 days later on the 4th. So Venus, as the ruler of the South Node, is going to have a conjunction with its own South Node. So it's culminating the cycle that began between the two of them last fall, when they last had a conjunction. And this is resetting things that we've learned. I believe that was post, I don't have the exact dates, but I believe it was like, I'm pretty sure it was around the time, because Venus was closing, it was closing the parade last year until Mars switch the role with her. I'm pretty sure Venus was conjunct in South Node sometimes around the time of the full moon in Gemini, late November 2023. And that was post eclipses. So Venus conjuncted South Node after the first eclipse in Libra, which took place in mid-October last year. So Venus, like showed us a lot of things, like because she was the ruler of the full moon in Libra lunar eclipse. So we became aware of the lot of things we were not aware of at the time of this conjunction last year, because that was under the influence of this new moon in Libra solar eclipse, and new moon is dark, we can't see, right? So now this is a culmination, this they're preparing for the conjunction. Look, Venus is conjunct Lilith, exact. So this is a culmination. This is a culmination of something that we did not yet know. We didn't know. We weren't fully aware of last October, but then we became aware of in March, and then in April everything got reset, as we know. And now we go 360 degrees, coming all the way around. And now this is culminating because it's telling us that, okay, now we have a new moon in Virgo that is going to be illuminated by the eclipse in March 2025, and it's going to end with the second new moon in Virgo 2025 on 29 degrees. So this is our opportunity to make a lot of adjustments, like put into practical application what we've learned throughout all these previous cycles, and especially in this past year, because last year 2023 was the first year when Pluto entered Aquarius, even though it was not there for a very long time. It was March till May, right? So not even 3 months, like just over 2 months. But either way, the energy already became present. We already started tapping into the energy, what it feels like to have a Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. And then all these things happen after, just like I was showing you with the new moon in Virgo last year. We didn't have, any of these conjunctions that we experienced in the past, 10 months or whatever, and now we did. So now the energy is very different, because we have this understanding of these new cycles that just got seeded. Also, Uranus, Jupiter, Uranus, Mars, Jupiter, this is all ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the upcoming ruler of Uranus as the ruler of Pluto. And this is all about perceiving and interacting with reality in a very different way, because Mars is the ruler of the North Node. North Node is preparing for conjunction with Neptune. They're already within a degree of the conjunction, but still out of sign. They're going to conjunct in Pisces next year, as I said, in February. So this is, in a sense, especially these nodes traveling through the sign of Virgo and Pisces, this will be for us as a humanity the time to make a lot of adjustments, because we know things we didn't know last year. And we will know more, because there is, Pluto, already Pluto in the Capricorn. There is still this next 10 weeks of Pluto in Capricorn. There are more things that's going to come to the surface. Pluto's going to be still retrograde for the time of the eclipses, 2024, autumn 2024 eclipses, the first one of which will be the lunation after this, the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, which will be in conjunction with Neptune. So there are more things that's going to be coming to the surface for us, because Pluto is digging out the rest of the dirt that Pluto's been bringing to the surface since 2008. So we have the opportunity to heal it and to close these loops. So it doesn't have to keep being recreated, because the evolution is pushing us forward. It's literally like, the best analogy is literally like, imagine that you go to kindergarten, but now it's time for you to go to a school, right? And you don't want to go, because you are like, but I like it in kindergarten, like it's great, I play and I have my friends and I like my teachers and stuff. But you are now 7 years old or whatever, and you cannot stay in kindergarten forever. You have to keep going with your evolution. You now have to go to school, right? This is literally that energy. This is literally that energy. So the universe is saying, Yeah, and this is not like to offend anyone. This is just an analogy. I'm not saying this is literal, that, oh yeah, humanity is in a kindergarten, stage or something. That's not what I'm saying, I'm just saying this is for the analogy's sake. Imagine that us as a humanity are somewhere on our evolutionary path. Obviously, it's not like every single person is in the same place. I already, discussed that previously, where I was saying that, people are at different stages of their journey, because, we all mirror each other and motivate each other, so we can pull each other up, or whatever, like some people play the roles of teacher in the way that they show us a lesson, and we know that what we either did learn or didn't learn, whatever, we can go in million different rabbit holes from here. But staying with this analogy of the kindergarten, or any place where you are in your life, and now is the time to move on. Now is the time to go to the next level of the journey, the next level of the evolution. And this is exactly what it is. This is exactly what the chart is saying. So it's saying there is a new moon in Virgo, which is seeding an energy. It's culminating an energy of 2023, because between September 2023 and September 2024, a lot of things happen. A lot of things happen. The most important of which was the solar eclipse in Aries, in conjunction with North Node new phase. That was the most important thing, but there were other very important things, like the North Node Chiron conjunction, Jupiter Uranus, Mars Uranus conjunction. Mars is the ruler of the North Node at the time. Pluto still ruled by Uranus, and all the rest of it. Now we have this seeding of a very different energy. This is also with the last Pluto Capricorn retrograde, because next year, for both new moon in Virgos, Pluto is already in a sign of Aquarius. And all these new players will be in a new sign, even though with the second new moon in Virgo, the 29-degree one at the end of September, they will be retrograde. Everybody will be retrograde, including Uranus. They will be preparing Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus, by this point. By this point, they are all, well, by this point, Saturn is already in Pisces. Here, Saturn is not yet in Pisces. He's still in the sign of Aries. But this point, Uranus is not yet retrograde. Uranus is not yet retrograde. Here, this is the second one, the 29 degrees eclipse. Saturn is already in the sign of Pisces. Neptune is just about to go back into Pisces, and Uranus is still retrograde. So this is where we are, just like we've been preparing since 2023 for this new energy of Aquarius, Pluto giving us this push, because Pluto is the soul's desire for incarnation. Why did we come here? Why any of us came here? We came here to evolve. We came here to have an experience, to grow, to experience life through the tangible reality. Opposition from Scorpio is Taurus, the tangible reality, these senses, to experience reality through senses, through the body, Taurus, the body, right? So now with Pluto already, last time Capricorn, going back into Aquarius in November after full moon in Taurus, that will be set. That's it. Pluto is not going anywhere until 2043. So now the universe is preparing us for this new energy, like Saturn, Neptune, Saturn, Neptune going to Aries. And, this is the Virgo, learning and adjusting, the human's journey, the hero's journey, going from the 6th house to the 7th house. The universe is like attuning us. Universe is attuning us to this new energy, attuning us to this new energy. So the universe is saying, like, okay, like we have this last lesson of Pluto in Capricorn, because then next year we're moving on. Venus is also closing to South Node as the ruler of the former ruler of the North Node, when North Node was in Taurus. Now Venus is the ruler of the South Node. This is the final conjunction between Venus and the North Node. Mars will not have a conjunction with the Venus and the South Node. Mars will not have a conjunction with the North Node again. He only had one conjunction with North Node while he was the ruler of North Node. Venus had two. This is going to be the second conjunction between Venus and the South Node. This is how important it is, because the South Node is in Libra. It's saying that we allow too much the external world, which is meant to be serving just as a mirror to create, to make us believe that the external world is what creates our reality. And this is what we need to harmonize. We need to harmonize. So with this Virgo learning Justin Pluto, it's like, okay, let me bring you some more disclosures and whatever it needs to be be brought to the surface to actually help you understand, where we at and what is and is not coming with us anymore to the future, because it's no longer in alignment. And actually, I just watched a very good podcast today with it was the Next Level Soul with Alex Ferrari and Daryl Anka, the gentleman that channels Bashar. And Alex asked him a very interesting question, which he said that why now people are like, we going through all these things, and we really want the change, like everybody is like, like it's just too much, it's overwhelming, like we really want the change, like why is it all happening now, why is it all happening all at once? And like there, Daryl gave a very good example, very good answer, which he said like, well, it is because this is where we are at, like it's all being dished out to the surface, because like yeah, we maxed out, like technically we like that's what was being spoken about. But it's also because it no longer feels in alignment, like we really want the change now, because it is just not in alignment with our frequency, because we all grown and evolved before, like we wouldn't have even noticed it, or well, we would have noticed it, but it wasn't so jarring. But now the humanity has evolved, we made a quantum leap, we all grown, we all like, so it's just no longer in an alignment, that's why the energy is no longer bearable, like it has to be transmuted. So this is literally what this Virgo new moon, that is going to be illuminated by the eclipse and culminated by 2 new moons in Virgo, second one of which will be eclipse on 29 degrees. This is what's being seeded. It's saying, with the opposition to Saturn, and Saturn is on Cancer Decan, which is all about creating a new sense of identity, because we culminating and healing all the old versions of ourselves, everything that came before, all these roles we played before, because it's no longer in alignment. Like we are not coming back to play the same roles, just to switch, like you play this, I play that, but it's the same energy. We are not coming back anymore to do that. That's it. Like literally, that's it. And like I said, this Virgo, new moon is preparing us, because Virgo is a mutable sign. It's a shift of season. Actually, this Virgo is 11 degrees, which is already a Capricorn decan, the structure of the reality, the new structure of the reality next year. Like I said, the Virgo, which degree? Oh yeah, it's 23 degree. The lunar eclipse, this one, 23 degrees, almost 24 degrees, 23 degrees. So this is Taurus decan. And then we're going to have the 1 and the 29, the 0 and the 29. The 0, the Virgo decan, and 29, this is again Virgo, Taurus. Yeah, Taurus. This is the foundation. So now we have the Capricorn, which is saying we need to take the responsibility and start creating this, even if it's just in the invisible realms, even if it's just in our vision and fantasies, because then, with this Taurus, we're going to give it, give it a manifestation form, we're going to give it the earth, and then again, the 0 degrees, again, whatever's going to be happening next year, September 2025, or no, there will be the August 2025, the 0 degrees, which is again, some adjustments going to be taking place over there, and the 29 degrees, which is like, okay, now the foundation is getting set. It's going to be getting set, like, because we already preparing for this Aries and Gemini, Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and Uranus in Gemini, and which, this Jupiter is preparing us for, this expansion of consciousness. We are all making a choice. We all have to make a choice. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? Because something has to give, things have to change. So with all these planets, again, we can go from planet to planet, also Mercury. Yeah, this is actually important. Yes, this is, Spirit took my attention to this one. This one is very important because, of course, Mercury is the ruler. Mercury is making the square to Uranus. You know, the exact square is the third square, because they already had two squares. You know, they already had one on the full moon in Capricorn number 2, 21st of July. The second one was on the 18th of August, which was right before the full moon in Aquarius. So it's interesting, all these very important lunations: Capricorn, Aquarius, Saturn, current ruler of Pluto, at the time Uranus, ruler of Aquarius, and now we have this one, you know, the Virgo one. So Mercury, you can see, is already in action, but it's not yet happened. You know, the preparing for the square. This is again the crisis in action. Something has to change. You know, the heart-centered consciousness. But they already had two squares. You know, prior to Mercury going retrograde, and while Mercury was retrograde, and these squares were creating a pressure for change. And now, what is interesting, and I did write it somewhere. Yeah, so Mercury is squaring Uranus. Let me see. And there is also the Yod. I put it here because I know that is important and I would have forgotten it. Mercury is squaring Uranus. Mercury is the ruler of this new moon. Mercury is also the ruler of Mars and Jupiter. Yeah. Uranus is at the moment not the ruler of Pluto, but was the ruler of Pluto, and is the upcoming ruler of the Pluto again. Mercury will be the ruler of Uranus when Uranus moves into Gemini first time next year. Venus is the ruler of Uranus. Venus at the moment is in Libra, culminating to South Node. You know, the cycle is ending. You know, the cycle of us looking up to someone else, like, hey, tell me how to live my life, that's ending. You know, this is no longer working because Saturn, Neptune, yeah, Pisces, you know, opposition. We need to balance this, yes? So at the same time, we are having in conjunction between Pluto and Mars. Pluto and Mars, 29 degrees, 28 degrees. Pluto and Mars in conjunction, blind spot, something we can't see. And actually something we can't see is that there is something in Sagittarius that is also, what is it? I think it's Pallas. Yeah, I know it's Pallas. Pallas is on 28 degrees of Sagittarius. It's also pointing to Mars. Yeah. So we have a Yod pointing to Mars in Gemini. Mars in Gemini. Yeah. This is an Aquarius degree. Not degree. Aquarius decan. Aquarius decan. The final decan of Gemini, which is an Aquarius decan. 28 degrees. Aquarian decan. Again, this is 10 endings, 11 master number frequency, you know, which is 2 if you simplify it, which is about polarity, but it's also about polarity, duality, but also about partnership. Yeah, so things are ending because we need to make the choice to collaborate with our heart. What is the heart? Heart is the gateway to the soul, right? So Mars making a square to Uranus, not Mercury, sorry, Mercury making a square to Uranus, Mercury making a square to Uranus, and whilst Mars making an inconjunction to Pluto. Yeah, Pluto is no longer ruled by Uranus, but anyway, you know, Pluto is going to be ruled by Uranus. And Mars, as the ruler of the North Node, Mars is the ruler of the North Node, is in Aquarian decan, ruled by Uranus, and Mercury is ruling this Mars, because Mars is still in Gemini at this stage, and Mercury is making the square to Uranus. And this is a crisis in action, which saying something has to change. Something has to change. We need to figure out, you know, what is our authentic expression? What did we come here to do? And the way we figure it out, we have to discover what it is that makes us happy. Or if we don't know, then identify what it is that does not make us happy and start from there, you know, and then try to make different choices and then become more aware about, you know, these things, you know, like what actually is my authentic expression and what isn't, because we are trying to move away from I need somebody else to tell me how to live my life. Like a lot of us are literally, and this is interesting because of the kindergarten thing, and this is in no way what I'm saying, that, you know, we are in this stage or whatever, but a lot of people don't know. They literally are like children in adults' bodies. They just don't know. They don't know what makes them happy. It's like we all playing make believe, like, you know, like when kids are playing like grown-up games, you know, when a little girl is dressed up in her mom clothes and puts a lipstick on and high heels, and she plays like dress up, you know, like a make believe, right? Like in many cases that a lot of us do. Like we have to go to, you know, work and pay taxes and, you know, be responsible adults, but in essence inside is just this little frightened child that doesn't even know itself, doesn't even know, like, how can I just be me and have a life that makes me happy? Because we all were being conditioned to do what we're being told, to live the life the way we were being programmed to do, right? So we all like grown up into these adult bodies, but in essence, what's really hiding inside is this little child that is wounded and unhealed and frightened, because when it tried to be authentic in a childhood, it was being scolded that, criticize Virgo in a lower vibrations, criticize that this is not what you do, this is not good, this is not good, and all these labels and polarities, right? Which created this fragmentation that said, well, I had to hide this aspect of myself because the external world doesn't care, doesn't want to see it. So we had, so this is like, and this is where, and I'm not a medical professional, definitely not a psychologist, so I know this is not easy, I'm in no way saying like, oh yeah, just switch your mindset and it's all good, like, I know it's not easy as that, but it's more about becoming more aware and conscious, because Virgo is a step-by-step process. Virgo is not going to do anything fast. There is an in conjunction between between Aries and Virgo, and this is why, because like Aries just wants to go. Aries just like, let's go, like a child, like don't need to know any plan, don't need to have any plan, don't need to know all the details, Virgo details. It's just like, let's go. And then Virgo is like, but I need my notes, I need to know what's going on, like, where are we going, all the details, do I have enough money, be practical, right? Virgo, yes. So Mars and Virgo, they don't see each other, because Mars goes like, I don't think the way you do, and Virgo go like, I cannot exist the way you do, like they don't see each other, no right and wrong. It's just saying like, well, it's, it's the energy that is not really like fully compatible, right? But anyway, all that said, it's like, this, what we're going through, it's a step-by-step process. You can see with all these new moon, full moons, it takes 12 months, well, 6 months. Between new moon, full moon is 6 months usually, and then between new moon and new moon is a year, 12 months. And it all takes time, it all takes time, and this is all just cycles within cycles, because it doesn't end there, it just keeps going. It takes time to change the course, it takes time to, like behave in a different way, react in a different way. It is all about observation, it's all about making small adjustments, like Virgo, like, because Virgo gets overwhelmed if it's too much and they want to do it all and they want to do it all perfectly, they get overwhelmed, there is a crisis, like, oh my god, it's too much, so even now, if we look at the big picture and we imagine like, how are we going to change this world, how are we going to turn that which we are experiencing into this something other, right? And it feels overwhelming, because nobody came here to do it single-handedly, nobody came here to save the world on their own, and nobody is coming to save it for us, there is no second coming, because the energy, the like, for example, Christ consciousness, it is an energy that now became embodied, or is becoming embodied by all these people, it's in the energy, but rather than coming in the form of a man, that say, okay, let me try to teach you how to do it, that energy now got like, like, and I haven't seen the movie, but the movie Scarlett Johansson about Lucy. I really need to watch it, but eventually, from my understanding, is a gay spoiler alert. I haven't seen it myself, it's just my brother told me about it, that eventually she just gets like fractured into a million pieces, and she's everything and all at once, and my brother says it's such a stupid movie, like, he doesn't get it. And I was like, oh yeah, it doesn't sound like much, but now I understand. I didn't understand back then, it was like years ago, right? So the frequency of, for example, the Christ consciousness, and without being religious, the heart-centered consciousness, the compassion and all that, it is not coming in a form of one person that is going to save humanity, or whoever we want to replace Jesus with, it doesn't matter, that avatar. It is a frequency, it is an energy that is literally like like it just like got blown into million pieces, and it's becoming embodied by all of us. Yeah. And it is a step-by-step process, because with Virgo, like I said, it takes time, Virgo and Pisces, yes, Pisces is the spiritual realm. We're trying to balance the two. Like there is all these, all these upgrades, all these opportunities for growth. Everything is coming through, yes, but it takes time. It takes time to make these huge adjustments. It will take decades, maybe even 100 years. We don't know. Obviously everything is going to get accelerated as the time goes on. The time already is going at triple speed, not double speed anymore, triple speed. It's just going so quickly, and it will continue to do so, even though the planets are retrograde. But it's all the internal process. This, like, our inner world is changing at the rapid pace. And then even though our outer world is not changing at rapid pace just yet, even there are aspects of it, like technology, for example, AI, but certain aspects we think like, well, nothing's changed, everything is the same, because this structure of the reality, literally the architecture of our reality, it will take time. It will take time to change. But first, what is needing to change is the inner world. It is our inner landscape. So with this new moon in Virgo, this is what's getting seeded, because we still see these 29 degrees of Pluto. We can see the totality. We can see the complete, I wanted to say distortion, but it's not all distorted, but we can see all that is distorted as well. We can see, and especially as the time goes on and Pluto will be really fully done. And once it goes direct in October, and then we'll be fully done with Capricorn in November, we will see more. We will understand more, because we will have these eclipses. The next, like I said, next lunation will be full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, whilst North Node is still in Aries, but we already have the eclipse in Pisces, and it's in conjunction with Neptune. It is in conjunction with Neptune. It will be on 25 degrees, so it will be full moon. So the moon will be close into Neptune, right? Because sun will be in Virgo, moon will be close into Neptune. So we have all these culminations, but at the same time, there are already all these new phases. This new energy is already here. It has already begun. The new cycles had already begun. But in order for us to see it manifested, the energy manifested, there is a lot of restructuring that has to take place, and it needs to take place from inside out, because the South Node is in Libra. It no longer will be the reality that's being mirrored to us, it will not reflect it to us until we become that, because the Libra is just a mirror, it's just a reflection. So it needs to become inside first, right? So, and you can see, Mercury now is behind the sun, but they will have another conjunction in Libra season. So, they conjunct in like every 2 months or 3 months, very, very often. So yeah, what else is there to add? So like I said, this Mercury square to Uranus, very important, because Mercury is the ruler of almost everyone. Jupiter sextile to Mercury. Yeah, the exact sextile was in July, long time ago now, but because Mercury retrograded, the close again. Mars sextile to Mercury, that just happened now, 24th of August, 2 days ago, but it's happening again in September. Venus trine to Uranus, that's happening tomorrow as I'm recording this. And Venus again, the ruler of the South Node, ruler of Uranus, but actually at this stage it's out of sign, trine, but still valid. Uranus is trine in all of this, even though the software here doesn't pick it up, but they still trine in one another, because 10-degree orb for the trine. And yeah, the Jupiter square to Saturn, Jupiter square to Saturn, which the exact happened on the full moon in Aquarius. And this is again the first quarter square, crisis in action. What needs to change? The way we perceive reality, the way we identify reality. So it is an inside out process, and it all starts from our mind. And whatever tools, Virgo, whatever tools we need to get to make these changes, that is the choice we have. Because, like, again, I am not a medical professional, and in no way saying this is easy. And if whatever trauma people gone through and whatever difficulties they're going through, and it's like, oh yeah, just do affirmations and meditate and it will all sort itself out. Well, not really, and this is the toxic positivity, or the spiritual bypassing, like, yeah, that's helpful. But obviously if people are struggling with certain things, then because it all is in the body, like our spirit is able to have this experience, our soul is able to have this experience because of the physical body. So if there is a trauma in the body, if there is an unprocessed stuck emotion in a body, that we need to take care of that first, because it's all great to have all these downloads and inspirations and yeah, like, oh yeah, absolutely, let's go for it, evolution and blah blah. But but the body needs to be ready, the body needs to be attuned, and this is the step-by-step process. This is the Virgo, this is the healing. So whatever it takes, whether it takes, to do somatic healing, yes, meditation, acupuncture, massage, yoga, talking to someone, family constellation, great time for that, Virgo season. Any of these tools, there is so much available to us, so much that there was not available to us prior. Even now with all these new modalities, gene keys and human design, which also are not even new anymore, 50 years old for evolutionary astrology and human design. I don't know exactly how long for human gene keys, but about the same time probably, or maybe a little bit less. But there are all these new modalities continuously coming out for us, all this help that is available to us, because this is all supporting us in transmuting this, transforming and transmuting and transcending these energies at the rapid pace. And these retrograde planets are actually helping with that, because they're taking us inwards and they're making us to do the work. Yeah. So yeah, and then Venus trine to Pluto. Yes, that's very important, of course. The Venus trine to Pluto, which is taking place as soon as Venus moves into the sign of Libra, which I believe is when Thursday. Yes, Thursday. So yeah, Venus trine to Pluto, and even though this is outside, but this is the closing trine now, which is the harvest. Because Venus is going to have another conjunction with Pluto before the end of the year. So yeah, Venus is the ruler of the south node. So anyway, guys, I think I'm just going in circles again. So I want to pull a few cards, and I don't even know what time I began, because I had to start recording like 5 times. So I lost the track of time. But in nutshell, what this new moon in Virgo is representing is seeding of this step-by-step process of change that is destined, you can say, that is inevitable, at the moment, especially because this is not yet an eclipse. We might feel that, well, we actually do feel, and it is the case, we have a choice. We have a choice, and this is also something, and I'm going to put it in the notes, this interview, because it was very interesting. So I would recommend for people to check it out if they're interested to hear it. And this is what also Darilanka is talking about. He keeps talking again and again, repeating that this is the year of choice. And this is something that I've been also sharing, and been coming through to me. Everybody is sharing this. Everybody that is connecting to something other than just our ego is saying this is the year of choice. This is the year of choice. So this not yet being eclipse, we have a choice. And Darilanka explains it very well, especially with the parallel realities and the splitting of Earth. And it's really, really well explained. So I'm not going to even try. Just, if you're interested, go and watch it. But this is the year of the choice, because we have to decide. And he actually explains it in that interview very well, that whatever choice you make, it's going to then crystallize. And then we're going to be interacting less and less with the opposite choice, and this is literally what it is. So this Virgo new moon, it's saying there is a process of adjustments that taking place based on all this manifestation of the past coming up and more yet to come, and culmination of the Pluto transit through the sign of Capricorn, which started in 2008. And now based on the outcome, based on this, what we've learned throughout this period of 16 years, we now have to make a choice, because the energy is ready. Saturn is in Pisces, Neptune is in Pisces, 29 degrees. It's saying that, okay, there is this new way of perceiving reality that's needed, which is the heart-centered consciousness. This is what's going to help us to hurt the ego, hurt the wounding of the past, which is where, a lot of trauma lies, that's been passed on from generation to generation and created the same pattern, the same situations. Like you see, this might even sound like, oh, that just sounds very simple, but it's very complex. But actually, the the entire setup that we are experiencing in the world, everything that is in manifestation, all these complex situations and scenarios we just created to for the soul just to have this complex experience that is like challenging, because why would we make it easy when we divine being, and we have all this intelligence and potential, and we can just do whatever, as divine being. So why make it simple, right? Why make it simple? But in reality, the energy, the undercurrent of this energy is very simple, because it's technically saying that, yes, like we as a human collective consciousness were playing a certain game, for a very long time. Yes, a lot of it was manipulated, but on a soul level, we agreed to that. So, the evolution of humanity was dwarfed, but now the time is up. Aquarian age, Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto's last transit through Capricorn, only 10 weeks, yes? So this is saying the time is up. Time is up. So literally we are being offered a choice. Okay, humanity cannot go in this direction anymore, because this game is outdated now. It's coming out of production. Yeah, let's imagine you have a product, and we know that a lot of us, especially women, get very, very frustrated when they discontinue your favorite lipstick or your favorite whatever foundation, and we're like, hey, I like that product. Why they discontinue it, and then they give you a new one and you don't necessarily like it, whatever, or we are forced to change the product and maybe we find something much better. So this is just, again, simplicity of the example. But imagine this game is discontinued. It's becoming discontinued. The universe is literally saying, okay, this game will no longer be available on the market, so you can start making different choice. You can start looking for something different you want to play. That's literally what's going on. So everything we are experiencing in the world, all these nuances and all these stories and all this everything, politics, economy, everything that we are worrying about right now, this is part of the old game. And again, this energy is not going to just disappear. We need to transmute it, but it's saying, okay, this is a game that we are not going to be able to play in the future, because it's not in alignment. And this is why it feels so unbearable, because humanity has grown, evolved, and we can no longer play this game like we did play for, when 200 years ago, 500 years ago, 1000 years ago. At that time, like I was channeling in my last video, the collective consciousness was different. It was okay. It was not so unbearable. We could just still grow through that process. But now it's no longer possible. This game is coming out of manufacturing, production, and it's no longer available. Now we'll have to play a different game. But the universe is giving us a choice, is giving us a time to decide. It's saying that, okay, before the energy of your choice will crystallize, just like Daryl Anka said, this is the word he literally said, before it crystallizes, before it solidifies, you have the choice to decide what games you want to play going forward. What is the game you want to play? You can choose, like it's up to you. Yeah, but then once you make your choice, it will start crystallizing, and it will not be so easy to play a game that is a very different frequency from that game. Yeah. So this is not an eclipse yet, because it's saying you have a little bit more free will over here. But once it gets to eclipse, your higher self is taking over and saying, okay, now we're going to crystallize it. That's next year. And especially going forward after that, because like, look at this madness, guys. Seriously, before I stop sharing the scheme, I want to show you this madness. This is the eclipses, right? So you can see eclipses this year, we can see already the break of the pattern, the Libra, Pisces, we still 2023, we had the Taurus, in October, we had the Taurus eclipse, and yeah, so 2023, let me just show you so you can see. But I really have to, start finishing, because it is going to be a long video. But this is, I think this is very interesting for people to actually see if my internet can handle it with the Mercury retrograde. Okay, thank you. Okay, so this was last year. You can see the 29 degrees Aries first eclipse, yes? Then we had the Scorpio. Then we had the first one in Libra in October 2023. And then we had the last one in Taurus, yes? Now, the things have changed, yes? So the first one of this year was the Libra one, which was the solar eclipse, lunar eclipse. This is usually how it works. Solar eclipse in one sign, lunar eclipse in the same sign, yes? But then we had the Aries one, yeah, Aries one, which now is not going to be a lunar eclipse in Aries. We're going to have the first one in Pisces, Pisces, that's the next one, the 25 degrees Pisces eclipse, and then last solar eclipse, last new moon in Libra, yes. And then next year, so this will be the illumination of this moon we're talking about now, will be the lunar eclipse in Virgo, yes. And then we're still going to have one more eclipse in Aries, again a solar eclipse, just a new moon, no full moon in Aries as an eclipse at all this time round, nothing, like I mentioned, the next lunar eclipse in Aries on North Node will be in 2043. 43 or 44, like 19 years from now. That's it, because the next one will be on a South Node in Aries. It will not be North Node. So and South Node is the past. It's what we are evolving. North Node is the forward momentum. So look at that. After that, the craziness that's going to happen. So we're going to have Aries, then again Pisces, okay, then the last one in Virgo in 2025, and then look at that, Aquarius, Aquarius, there will be already a eclipse in Aquarius, and then will be Virgo. Again, this is just a new moon, right? There will be a full moon here, but there will be a new moon there. So next year we're going to have the Virgo full moon, Virgo new moon, and then Virgo full moon in March, and that will be the end of it, I believe. Yes. And then we're going to have Aquarius, Virgo, Leo, Pisces, so we have all elements present in 2026. Actually, how many eclipses we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4. Okay, all elements present. And then we're going to have, there is one more in Virgo here, the lunar eclipse. And then we're going to have Aquarius, Virgo, Capricorn, Leo, so it's like literally, it's just going crazy. Look at that. It's just going to be going crazy, complete change of pattern. There's not going to be this Aries solar eclipse, Aries lunar eclipse, Libra solar eclipse, Libra lunar eclipse. Like, no, it's just going to go completely insane, completely insane. You can check it out for yourself. So anyway, guys, I'm going to stop sharing this because I'm just, going into rabbit holes and losing people in the process. But yeah, once there is an eclipse in a sign, this is when the higher self and destiny is taking over. So this one is like, okay, yeah, we still can choose because there is still a lot of stuff coming up to the surface. So we can decide based on all this data that we are accumulating. But whatever you choose, then is going to take you in certain direction. And then the more that you stay attuned to that frequency, you will no longer be able to go back, to this. Because this is coming out of production. Yeah, it's coming out of production. It's no longer going to be available. And, those who will stay in this production, eventually the game will end. And eventually it will not be available anymore, yes? So anyway, think of it whatever you wish. So let's see these cards. And then we're going to close because this is going to be another long video. I know people are busy. So let's see this Queen of the Moon, the energy for this new moon in Virgo, this one that is not an eclipse yet. What is the energy of the new moon in Virgo? Spirit, please. Okay, card. Oh, okay, this is interesting. Masculine. This doesn't probably make much sense because masculine is usually about taking charge. There we go. This is number 42, which is number 6, balance, and at the bottom is sovereignty, which is interesting because this is the last, this is the divine feminine and divine masculine. We need to take responsibility, take the charge, the masculine, the God, we need to balance the divine feminine. Okay, now I understand. Okay, what else is there? The path. Yeah, the path forward, number 8. So this year is showing us the path, the path forward, and it goes through balancing the divine masculine and the divine feminine. We need to balance the two energy, just like I was saying in the channeling, in my practical application of astrology, what was coming through with the, the minus and plus to come to the point of neutrality so a new energy can be created. So we need to take the charge, balance the energies, heal the past, step into our authority, take responsibility, and heal that which is, you know, the polarity of what we want to be experiencing by adding the opposite to neutralize the energy and stepping into our sovereignty, you know, freeing ourselves from the conditioning of the past. And this is number 5, which is about change, number 6. And then at the bottom, we have the path, which is number 8, the path to success, you know, the portal to a completely different universe, right? So these were our very, very powerful cards. So this is what we see in, you know, but the choice is yours, because, you know, being sovereign goes through Capricorn. We need to take responsibility. Yeah, Aquarius. And it's also, she has the crescent on her forehead, crescent moon, which is about the Taurus foundation. Foundation of the new future is through balancing the energies of the divine feminine and divine masculine. That's the path forward through this process of harmony and neutralization and heart-centered consciousness, and experiencing reality in a very different way from what it was experienced until this point. Because in order to create different reality and a different result, we need to do something different, and we need to become someone different. Okay, I'm not gonna read the interpretations for that. Okay, actually, let me just read the affirmations. So let's do the gods. But these are very powerful cards. Okay, maybe I just the top, just the front. The lunar god, the masculine, it's time to step forward and lead. Be the leader in your own life. You have more power than you think. It is time to formally learn more and enroll in a course or learn a new skill. Offer your protection to someone weaker than yourself. Take steps to improve your health and vitality, which is very important part of the foundation. May the positive attribute of the masculine align with me. And it says, should you pull this card, it is asking you to step up into your power, into your uniqueness, and offer your guidance to those who might need it. And the crystal is black opal. So that's that one, the masculine. Then with the sovereignty, the lady, the sovereign, it's actually the cover girl. Sovereignty, you have sovereignty over your own life. Act with grace and confidence. You have the ability to unite disparate people and views should you choose to do so. The buck stops with you. You are powerful, act like it. And then the affirmation, I reign over my own realm. We must, as any queen would, set firm boundaries to protect our queendom and those who are under our protection. This does not mean to be cruel, we become cruel rulers. We should always aim for benevolence, fairness, and great love for all, as well as ourselves. It does mean we might have to push against those who do not respect our line in the sand. Companion stone is platinum. And then the path that was at the bottom, which is the path to abundance, number 8. The year forward. This year is really a portal. It is a portal because the number 8, the sign of infinity, has the 0 point. You know, when the two intersect there. So the path, the way is open for you. The path is illuminated. Begin the journey now. Respond and take action. We must be courageous and move forward. And the affirmation, I am open and responsive to the opening of the way. The past is not only visible, but it is inviting. The past is not only visible, but it is inviting us forward. And so, instead of just standing there, we can't wait to step on it and move forward. The path is lit, and now it is time to walk upon it. And the companion stone is spirit. Okay. I think this is quite clear, the message. Okay, and now the portal of the light, the gateway of the light activation oracle. What is the portal that is opening up for us with this new moon in Virgo, pre-spirit? Earth star activation, anchoring, grounded action, Isis energy. I don't know if I pulled this for the collective or for myself, and there's also the Merkaba, but I did pull this card recently. I do apologize for the quality of my camera. Earth star activation. And then at the bottom, wow, again, this is interesting. So we had the two cards, which are the cover cards of the deck. This is the third eye activation, brow chakra, inner vision, clear seeing. Look at the portal. So we need to anchor into the earth, anchor ourselves into our bodies, with the Virgo, the learning and adjusting, to activate our third chakra. Because in order to bring all this energy from the cosmos, we need to be firmly rooted in our body, in our existence as human. And then the gateway will open to this unlimited potential. But first, I feel we need to heal the disconnection. We need to heal these wounds which are in our body that are preventing us from the third eye activation. So there is, and also the Merkaba. It's important to put ourselves in that healing space of Merkaba. Okay, Earth Star activation. So that's interesting. Earth Star. Archangel Sandalphon, the number 22. Okay, thank you. This is a good confirmation, the numbers that were coming up with the charts. Okay, Earth Star activation, Mother Gaia. The Earth Star chakra, found around 2 to 16 inches, 15 to 30 centimeters below our feet, is the energetic portal that connects us directly with the soul wisdom of Mother Earth. It is our gateway to the underworld of the earth and space of sacred magic and mystery, where we will find a lot of the tools, gifts, and skills the ancients used to connect with the earth and her wisdom. The Egyptian goddess Isis appears on this card as our spiritual guide. She is a high priestess of stars who knows the importance of connecting with the underworld to stay grounded, aware, and manifest all that we need to grow. Follow in her footsteps by connecting to your Earth star. Anchor down and go digging within to find any parts of your magic, wisdom, and experiences you have pushed down, both in this incarnation and in the previous lifetimes. These tools, Virgo, could be helpful on the next phase of your journey. Imagine deep roots from the soles of your feet penetrating the earth and anchoring round a giant copper crystal star. So that would be the Merkaba. Visualize stems of consciousness moving up into your feet. Receive them, then listen deeply. Your message. When you draw this card, know your Earth star has been activated and the wisdom you once ignored is finally being acknowledged. The rejected parts of yourself have now been rediscovered. There is an opportunity for you to rediscover magic too, but stay firmly rooted in all of your endeavors. Let the Earth hold and sustain you. Don't rush ahead, Virgo, step by step. In fact, if you've been wondering if it's time to move forward, know that it isn't. Stay put for the time being. It's a new moon. Important information is about to be revealed, so wait and stand strong. This is a time of integration and rest rather than pushing forward. Great wisdom lies within you. Dive deep and find it and trust in yourself. You have more strength than you realize. I feel this is to do with the Pluto Capricorn last retrograde. There will be much more revealed throughout this time that will create a certain guidance, let's just say. And let's see the Earth's the third eye. The third eye. Wow. I had never pulled this card before, the third eye activation, the portal, the cover card. Brow chakra, inner vision, clear seeing. The third eye or brow chakra is the energy center found in the middle of the forehead between the brows, often represented as an eye. It governs all aspects of our vision, including dreaming, reading between the lines, visualization, and even having psychic insights. This card transports us through a gateway representing our spiritual connections. Seeing with our inner eyes is our divine right, and our soul self has never forgotten how to do it. In fact, we are often using this special talent even if we don't realize it. For example, when we imagine something before it happens. Connect, anoint the space between your brows with your favorite essential oil or moisturizer. Close your eyes and massage this space. Tell your inner vision it's safe for it to be fully activated. Affirm, I am willing to see. Your message: this gateway encourages you to unlock your psychic abilities and to stop questioning your divine ability to see. Know that great potential and healing will be unleashed when this space is activated. If you have an intuition about something, trust what you are seeing. This is a sacred time for the psychic potential that you have had since childhood is awakening from slumber. You've always been a dreamer, sometimes thinking about how the future will show up or revisiting the past. Now the gifts that have been discouraged in the past are reawakening, and your inner vision is stronger than you imagine. You have an innate ability to see further than human eyes and are able to identify the energies of what is going on around you with your activated third eye. This gateway is here as a confirmation that you are seeing and experience that what you are seeing and experiencing is in divine alignment, and that you are being supported as you develop this source given gift. So learning to ground in our human experience to access your divine abilities, because the body is the instrument. So healing, with Virgo is the healing to this disconnection of unworthiness and not good enough. This Virgo, the conditioning that told us we had to be perfect, that made us disconnected from ourselves. And that is the prerequisite in order to be able to activate our psychic gifts, our spiritual gifts, to actually accept the body. Okay, and the final closing message, overarching energy from the major arcana, please. Major arcana, Virgo New Moon. Okay, Magician. You are the magician. You have the unlimited potential. You have all the elements available to you. And at the bottom, the Empress. Yeah, Taurus, grounding in your body. Venus, yeah, Venus in Libra, balancing the scales of this connection. Yeah, these are very powerful cards. Yeah, Mercury, the ruler of this lunation, the ruler of Virgo, and Venus, the ruler of Uranus, that Mercury is squaring for the third time. Empress, the abundance. You have everything you need to create the reality you want, but you need to believe in yourself, Taurus, self-love, and choose to perceive reality differently. Reach for the stars, but be grounded in the earth, because we came here to have this experience. Okay, guys, I have to finish because it's been very long video, I feel. So before I forget, because I forgot last time, I would like to thank my higher self, my guides, our ancestors, spirit guides, everyone that was present for this recording. Thank you, cards, and the messages that came through cards. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I would like to close this space, and I hope that you found some value in this video. And I wish you a wonderful week ahead and fantastic new moon in Virgo next week. Much love, everyone, and bye for now.